Randy, it was talked about after the game how your defense does such a good job adjusting at halftime and playing better in the second half. I mean, what goes into that? How are you guys able to consistently do that so well throughout the years?
Well, I would say we do what we do, so we know when there's problems. Disappointing that we had the problems, but once we figured out what they were, we got them adjusted, the kids adjusted, and we got the problem solved for the most part.
What were some of those problems that you saw?
We misfit a few times, yeah, more than anything.
How concerned are you with the run defense going forward after giving up 200 yards this past Saturday and then facing C.J. Donaldson, who had 125 against you guys last year?
Yeah, I mean, they're good on offense. They got a good O-line, good running back. We got to get some things corrected, and I believe we will.
Do they do any switches with how they block up front, like with the different methods that they use for their offensive line that you guys have to watch for?
I don't think so. I think they do what they do like we do. I'm sure they'll have some adjustments and some tricks. They're a three down defensive line, and we're a 4, so they'll have some differences. But I think for the most part, they'll do what they do, and we do what we do.
Randy, what's the challenge with their quarterback? How much is it designed, or is he just?
Well, I think some of it's design, and some of it he's a tremendous athlete. I mean, he's rushed for 110 yards in a game and a half, thrown for a lot, and they run him. They don't just scramble with him. So yeah, he's a challenge.
Did PJ go to school a little bit Saturday night?
No more than Eric Hallett did. I think Eric Hallett was a 4th rounder at one point. So we will keep teaching him, coaching him. He'll get better. Everybody on the team will. That's what we do and how we do it.
How did Donovan play?
Donovan played well. Donovan had a good game. Came in, did what he was supposed to do the way he was supposed to do it. And as I always say, that's a good competition there. And the best one this week will start.
How's Shane handling the responsibilities that Mike just communicated and keep people on the same page? He was the one who told us after the game, like, hey, between outside and inside zone, our keys were off, and that's what we adjusted.
Yeah.
Going back to the tape, looked like there were times where just pre-snap alignments were a little slow to adjust to pre-snap motion.
Yeah, I think that a little bit, and we had a couple of issues with eyes, things that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I think early in the season that stuff happens, and we're playing against a good team with a big physical back who transferred from the SEC, and so he made us pay for it early.
And Shane, I was gonna, and Shane, how do you see?
Shane's doing good. Shane's doing good. He's an experienced guy. When we come off the field and there were issues, we figured them out real quick because he was able to explain what was going on, what the problems were.
To get all that playing time for Donovan, you had Javon playing at the field side. Are you comfortable with him in both? I know you've talked about cross-training him even back to the spring.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
now you're doing it in a game.
Well, we've rotated those guys all along, and we will continue to do that as we did last year with those guys in the bowl game and during the season. So, yeah, those guys will all rotate in.
Randy, a bit of a different question. Can you take me through your experience and what you were feeling when MJ intercepted that pass against West Virginia last year?
At that point, then, I was looking at 2 things. I was looking at 2-minute offense, what they would do if we scored, and then if we didn't score. That's my job, is to look at the next series.
So you weren't even reacting?
Oh,
or
as
anything
happy
to-
as I
yeah.
could be for about 1 second.
1 second.
Game was a long way from being
Yeah.
over, as you guys know.
You deserve more happiness than 1 second.
Yeah, well, hopefully this week we'll get one.
We saw Devin and David get up. They are now officially the starters. The oars were taken off for DeAndre and Tyler. But what did you see from them that they kind of just got the lone standing as starters, and how have you seen your defensive line work so far?
Yeah, well, I think at the end of the day, they played the best this week. And at some point, as you go along, one guy steps up enough to be the starter. That doesn't mean they're going to play every snap, as you know, but they'll at least run out there the first snap and the first set.
With a lot of the issues, Pat yesterday talked about communication and even over communication. You talked about the fits. Do you how much of that do you chalk up to? I mean, you had 6 new starters, and half your defense
Sure.
was new in that game. And did a lot of it just come from first game
A
jitters? I guess?
lot usually does, and that's why we just got to keep coaching, and there's no panic. Just keep coaching, doing what we do, the way we do it, and our players will be fine.
Is there something you guys have to do to get more turnovers right now? Or are you happy with the pace of how you guys have created turnover in each game?
Well, not one per game. I don't think anybody'd be happy with that. We do have to get the ball out a little more. We got to create a little more pressure, and we got to get more population to the ball. I think that'll create it.
Are you
Right.
pleased that the defense was able to kind of tighten up in the second half of
It didn't tighten up enough, so I would put it that way. You know, if we stop them on that last set and get the ball back to the offense, maybe I'd be a little happier.
Randy, how has the bounce back been from a mentality standpoint? Is it a feeling of a rivalry week this week?
Oh, yeah, it is, but I think as you always do after a loss, is you got to regroup, figure out what the problems are, and get them corrected. And we had a serious practice today.
What, after the two games, how did Bengali and Solomon grade in their assignments and responsibilities and whatnot?
They did fine. You know, I think there were plays. Both of them are still figuring parts of it out. We moved Bengali to the boundary, and Sullivan's in, and Sully is also learning. So there's going to be a little learning curve every week, and I think the critical point for those, as anybody that's new out there, is how they do when they learn from their mistakes. If we learn from our mistakes, we'll be a lot better this week.
Are you a little concerned about the depth there? I mean, who are you looking for to stand up or to step up behind those two guys?
Well, we've got Lovelace is out there. We've got, let's see, I'm trying to think of who else. Yeah, Nick Lappy's out there. And then we can always move Shane back outside if we have to at the end of the day. So all those guys, and Kyle Lewis also will play a little more.
How has Kyle looked? Because he's seen some action. I've seen.
Well,
him
Kyle
get
missed a
the ball.
lot with the injury,
Mhm.
so he's every day getting a lot better. He moves well now. It's just getting reps, get him seasoned, ready to go.
Your pass rushing reputation is something that you have to deal with, I guess, because the teams do anything different to try to protect the passer because you guys have been so good at it over the years.
I think there's times that they'll maximum pro it, to
Does
throw the
Cincinnati
ball.
do that?
Some, everybody does, but it's my job to figure out how to get them to the quarterback.
So what do you do then when you
Well,
get them
I'll
back?
tell you after the game.
Anything else for Coach Bates?
Yeah, I was kind of curious. There was this play, it was 3rd and 10, they were at their 45. You had an offside call, so they move up to 3rd and 5. You
Yep.
kept the Delta defense out there. When you revisit that decision,
Yeah,
I guess is that your call from us?
I don't talk about specific defense and defensive calls. I'm sorry, that's in-house stuff.
All good. Thank you, Coach Bates.
Sorry.